When scientists started to look beyond our world for life, they expected to find it in places like the star system Alpha Centauri, which is just 4.3 light years away from Earth, or perhaps even closer, around the red dwarf Ross 128, which is only a stone's throw away at 11 light years. But what if these places weren't where the search should have begun? What if there was evidence of ancient humans living not too far from home? Well, it turns out there may be. In fact, there are several pieces of evidence that point toward the same conclusion. And all of it can be found right here on Earth. The stunning news comes from a group of leading astronomers who recently announced the discovery of 8 dangerous documents hidden in plain sight. These documents describe strange landscapes filled with unfamiliar creatures, plants, and ruins of unknown origin. The authors claim that these are first-hand accounts of life on other planets and that ancient astronauts traveled between worlds until they were banished from doing so by an ancient alien government. But why did this alien government intervene? Was it trying to protect humanity from itself, or was there something else going on? What exactly is this mysterious ancient astronaut program? It all began in 1906 when a mysterious wooden box was found buried deep in the jungle near the Mayan ruins of Palenque in Mexico. Inside was a series of 8 clay tablets covered in strange markings that resembled both hieroglyphs and the modern Arabic language. The tablets were unlike anything scholars had ever seen before and soon became known as the Palenque Codex. For decades, experts argued over what the codices meant. Some claimed they were nothing more than a hoax. But in the 1950s, two Mexican intellectuals came forward with a translation. They claimed that the tablets told the story of a lost civilization of aliens who had once lived on Earth. According to their translation, these aliens had come from a planet called Maldek, which orbited the star system Alpha Centauri. Now, as it happens, Alpha Centauri has long been a favorite target for astronomers looking for signs of intelligent life, and there are good reasons for this. As we said earlier, it's relatively close to Earth at just 4.3 light years away, but that's not all. It's also home to 3 stars Alpha Centauri, B and C, with A and B being very similar to our own sun, with 3 stars instead of 1. This system offers plenty of potential places for life to evolve, making it a prime candidate for the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And according to the Palenque Codex, it may also be home to a lost colony of ancient astronauts. But this raises a lot of questions. Like, where is this planet Maldek now? And what happened to its people? Sadly, the text doesn't shed much light on either question. All we know for sure is that at some point in the past, a terrible catastrophe destroyed Maldek and forced its inhabitants to flee to Earth. There they lived among humans for many years, sharing their advanced knowledge and technology before eventually being wiped out by yet another great disaster. So if these ancient astronauts really did exist, where did they go? Well, according to the document, they went to a place known as Ta, which may or may not have been another planet. Unfortunately, this is where the story ends, and we don't know what happened to the ancient astronauts after they reached Ta. It could be that they continued to live among us for many years, or maybe they returned to the stars hundreds or even thousands of years ago. Maybe they're watching us even now, waiting for the day when we'll be ready to join them again. But while the Codex describes the origins of the ancient astronauts, another document tells the tale of their demise. This one is known simply as the Lingship Papers. It was written by a man named George King, who claimed to have been taken aboard an alien spacecraft in 1957. Now, you might be wondering how exactly he managed to write about his experience if he was literally taken aboard a spaceship and never returned. And that's a good question. As far as we know, King was never actually taken into space, but he did make one very important discovery. While visiting Stonehenge in England, he discovered a small opening hidden behind a large stone. When he crawled through the opening, he found himself in a dark tunnel leading deeper into the ground. Unable to see in the darkness, King called for help and soon found himself face to face with four strange beings who emerged from the shadows. They appeared to be humanoid but had large almond-shaped eyes and gray, scaly skin. One of the beings then spoke to him telepathically, explaining that they had been observing humanity for many years and had finally decided it was time for us to learn the truth about our origins. With that, the being led King down a long hallway until they reached a chamber filled with rows upon rows of computers. He watched in amazement as the beings interacted with the machines, using them to view images from all across the universe. Finally, one of the beings approached him and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Your mission," it said, "is to reveal what you have seen and heard today. You must tell the world that we are not alone in the universe." With that, King was sent back the way he came, emerging from the tunnel in the exact same spot where he had entered. He tried to convince authorities to investigate further, but they didn't believe his story. So he decided to write it down and publish it in a book. That's when the Ling ship papers were born. But while King's story is fascinating, it raises a lot of questions. What exactly is the significance of Stonehenge in all of this? Why did the beings choose King to be their messenger? And most importantly, why did they decide to reveal themselves to him in the first place? Well, as it happens, there may be an answer to all of these questions. You see, Stonehenge isn't just a random monument built by ancient humans. It's an important landmark in itself, marking the entrance to a vast underground facility used by the ancient astronauts. And the reason the beings chose King to be their messenger is because he was an Air Force navigator during World War II. He flew missions all over Europe, including Germany, where he witnessed firsthand the destructive power of war. The beings hoped that King would use his experience to convince humanity to abandon its violent ways and seek peaceful solutions to its problems. And while King did try to share his message of peace, it didn't exactly go as planned. The powers that be didn't want people knowing about the ancient astronaut program, and so they quickly silenced him. They labeled him a madman and made sure that no one would ever believe his story. But they might have made a terrible mistake. You see, since King's death in 1977, several other authors have come forward with similar tales of their own. Many have claimed to visit the same underground facility and to have seen the same beings that King described. And while these stories may seem unbelievable, there's one thing that we have to keep in mind. If the ancient astronauts really did live among us in the distant past, then it's entirely possible that some of them are still here. Maybe they're living in secret, hiding their true origins from the rest of humanity. But why would they do that? Well, it's simple. They wouldn't want people to know that we're not alone in the universe. If word got out that there are other intelligent species out there, it could cause mass panic and chaos. Plus, the ancient astronauts probably want to protect their own people from harm. After all, we've done some pretty crazy things in the name of religion throughout history. Just imagine what we might do if we knew for a fact that aliens are real. But what if the ancient astronauts aren't hiding anymore? What if they're reaching out to us, trying to make contact? Well, there may be some truth to that theory as well. Take, for example, the WOW signal. It was picked up by an astronomer named Jerry Emin in 1977 while he was searching for radio signals from outer space. The signal was only 30 seconds long and came from somewhere near the constellation Sagittarius, but it wasn't any ordinary radio signal. It was a perfect match for the kind of signal that scientists believe an alien civilization might send into space. Coincidentally, the WOW signal was picked up just 2 weeks after the publication of Carl Sagan's book, Cosmos. In it, Sagan theorized that life elsewhere in the universe was not only possible, but probable. He believed that there were likely billions of planets out there that could support life, and that intelligent civilizations were probably living on many of them. Could the author have inadvertently tipped off an alien species to his presence? Perhaps, but what if the WOW signal was more than just a coincidence? What if it was a deliberate attempt to make contact? It might sound far-fetched, but there are other cases of apparent alien contact that have never been explained. For example, in 1989, a group of hikers in the Ural Mountains of Russia saw a strange object hovering above them. The object was about the size of a basketball and was making a loud humming noise. The hikers were able to take photographs of the object before it disappeared into the forest. To this day, no one knows what the object was or where it came from, but perhaps the most intriguing case of alien contact ever recorded happened in 1908 when a man named Fred Baldwin saw a strange object land in a cornfield near his home. The object was about the size of a house and left a large crater in the ground. But when Baldwin approached the crater, he saw something that made him run for his life. There in the middle of the crater was a large humanoid figure made of metal. The figure was about 7 feet tall and had a head that looked like a frying pan. Baldwin ran to the nearest sheriff and told him what he had seen. But when the sheriff and his deputies arrived at the scene, all they found was a small amount of scorched earth. No sign of the object or the metal humanoid could be found. But perhaps the most disturbing part of the story is that Baldwin wasn't the only one who saw the object that day. Hundreds of other people in the area also witnessed it land. All of this evidence points toward one inescapable conclusion. The ancient astronauts may be trying to make contact with us again, and this time they're hoping that we'll be ready to listen. But what will happen when we make first contact? Will it be peaceful or will it lead to war? Only time will tell. But one thing is for certain, when it does happen, we'll never be the same again. And if you liked the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more. This was James, and you've been watching your channel, Valley of Knowledge. Stay curious, and see you in the next one.